big concern, here in California, especially the last year, has been the drought and kind of how we manage our water and how we can improve, I guess, our storage or our water in the future. Kind of, studying this and kind of knowing the history on this, kind of what do you see for the future of California for our water resources and kind of how to best attain those?
Yeah, I'd say there's two background things I want to mention, or three really. One is that with the warmer climate, there's going to be less snow in the Sierras. And that's a big natural reservoir for the state, not just the Sierras, but Shasta and all around. So that's going to change the circumstances for which we have to have water available in the summer. For a long time, there's been enough of it in the winter, usually, to get us through. But that's going to be changing. There's going to be a lot less. So that's one change. Another is because the atmosphere, when it's warmer, can hold more water vapor, it means a warmer atmosphere. And because water vapor is the fuel of an atmospheric river and the fuel of precipitation, the warmer temperatures are going to lead to some atmospheric rivers having more fuel and being stronger. So the very wet days are going to get wetter, is what the models are showing us, meaning maybe the floods are going to get bigger. And yet at the same time, the dry periods between the storms are going to get longer. So essentially the droughts are going to get drier. So we have that sort of swinging between wet and dry is going to be more extreme in the future. And it's already been happening in the last decade, ever since we started our Center for Western Weather and Water Extreme. Now, how we handle that, we think there's a way we can help the state and the region deal with these issues. And it's through something called Forecast Informed Reservoir Operations, FIRO. I'll pronounce it FIRO. And that's a project with the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers and California Department of Water Resources and local water agencies to explore in 3 or 4 reservoirs we're working on whether or not we could bring forecasts of atmospheric rivers into the decision-making at reservoirs to allow more flexibility than they've had historically. Normally, after a big storm, a reservoir that has what's called flood control space, like empty space, so it can take the top off a flood,
right,
it holds back some water, so the flood's worse down, or not as bad downstream. But then they're supposed to release that water quickly afterwards. Well, now with the use of forecasts of atmospheric rivers, we've shown that it's possible, at least in one of the reservoirs we've worked on, or 2 of them really, that it's safe to hold back some of that water if you watch for the forecast of ARs every day. And if you got one coming, then you can release that extra water before problems arise. And that looks to be very promising as an option to adapt to climate change, where FIRO, fueled by atmospheric river forecasts, can have the possibility to help reservoir operators save some extra water after a big storm, or if there's a super big storm coming, actually release some water ahead of the storm that they might otherwise have kept, and therefore increase flood mitigation capacity. And we're working on both sides of that.
Interesting. And I guess in the concept of storage and kind of, I guess, how to manage, I guess the capture of water, kind of, what are your thoughts on that lines, and how can the study of atmospheric rivers kind of help that?
Oh, yeah. So one of the big things in this region is groundwater is a really important part of our water management system. And we work, for example, very closely with Orange County Water District and the LA District of the Corps of Engineers on Prado Dam in Southern California. And that dam is operated in a way where they can get a little bit of water out of it to put into the groundwater, recharge the groundwater. What we're doing with FIRO there is showing that it's possible to safely do more of that, substantially more. And so in a way, that's FIRO is contributing to keeping extra water behind Prado Dam when it's safe to do so after a storm, and releasing it in a way that it gets recharged into the ground. And that supports what people are calling a flood managed aquifer recharge, MAR, or FloodMAR. And there are a variety of programs and developments pursuing that. And I should mention that we work very closely with the California Department of Water Resources, and they run what's called the Atmospheric Rivers Research Program. And it's supporting the science and improvement of prediction of ARs with an eye towards that helping with FIRO and ultimately with FloodMAR.
Make sure you click the button below and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you can keep up with all our news and updates.
Are called dreamers.